here's a sampling of some of his television and radio appearances where he brings guns and shooting into the conversation. We start with a Beck message to, quote, the liberal media. Let's listen.
The radicals that you in Washington have co-opted and brought in wearing sheep's clothing change the pose. You get the ends. You've been using them? They believe in communism. They believe and have called for revolution. You're going to have to shoot them in the head. But warning, they may shoot you. They're dangerous because they believe. Karl Marx is their George Washington. You will never change their mind. And if they feel you've lied to them, they're revolutionaries. Nancy Pelosi, those are the people you should be worried about. And for those of you in the administration who are coming after me on this one, I mean, remember, you've broken 3. Let's not make it 4. Thou shalt not kill.
America is waking up. You know, the American Revolution took place with 12% of the population? 12. You telling me there's not 30% of this population that you will have to shoot me in the forehead before I let somebody into my house to tell me how to raise my children? You will have to shoot me in the forehead before you take away my gun. You will have to shoot me in the forehead before I acquiesce and be silent.
You can try to put the lid on this group of people, but you will never silence us. You will never. You can shoot me in the head. You can shoot the next guy in the head. But there will be 10 others that line up. And it may not happen today. It may not happen in next week. But freedom will be restored in this land. Period. And no matter what you want to call it, it is a totalitarian state that you're headed towards.
Well, there you have the paranoia of the right, Eric, writ large, talking about they're coming to get you with their guns. They're going to shoot you in the head. You've got to shoot these radicals in the head. And there we have, of course, this head shooting. I mean, I'm not saying anybody said pull the trigger, but this is so incendiary, this language. It just keeps going and going. You would think somebody would stop and say, you know, let's take a breather. Yet there you got Hugh Hewlett out there saying, keep it up. Yep. Keep up the gun talk. Keep talking about guns and shooting people in the head. And it's so graphic.
Yeah,
Your thoughts?
What violent rhetoric? You know, after the Arizona shooting, there was this debate sparked about violent rhetoric and what was the right-wing response? What was the Fox News response? We don't do violent rhetoric. We don't do anything out of the ordinary. We don't do anything liberals didn't talk about during the Bush years. And you just played a small clip about what this is really about. This is incendiary and it's relentless and it's a demonization of people. And after Arizona, they have doubled down. The excuse now is this doesn't cause anything, and folks on the left are trying to censor us. We have the right to use this kind of gun talk, this paranoid fantasy. This is what we believe, so why shouldn't we talk about it? Utterly unconcerned about the consequences at this point.
You know, I think people should watch this show again at 7 and catch this, just to catch this again. Listen to this rant of this guy. Shoot in the head, shoot in the head. They're coming to shoot you in the head. You got to shoot them in the head, the radicals in Washington. It feeds on paranoia. They're coming to get me. It's like the old thing about they're broadcasting out of my teeth, that old weird thing. Now, you're laughing, Eric, but this is getting to the crazies.
I think the key thing is a word that Eric just used. Demonization. It's not just violent rhetoric, but he's out there, Glenn Beck and others, saying that Barack Obama has a secret plan, in essence, to destroy America. Not that he's wrong in policy, but he wants to destroy America.
What's this coming to shoot you in the head thing?
He wants to kill 10% of the population. He wants to set up FEMA camps. Glenn Beck has either advanced or, all these conspiracy ideas. So then when you tie that to the violent rhetoric, it gives people the pretty obvious solution that they should
Well, I just wonder, I want to get the motive here, because obviously everybody on television and radio obviously would like to have a larger audience. I don't even think that's worth talking about. But is that going to get you a larger audience talking about this? Why would somebody be more likely to listen or watch you if you're saying they're coming to you with guns to shoot you in the forehead? He's very specific about this. You've got to shoot them in the head first. I mean, this is almost, well, it sounds crazy. I mean, it does sound, I don't know if it's crazy, but it does sound, if you said somebody out there, a loony was talking about this with a gun talk like this, you'd say that's how loonies talk.
Right.
Wouldn't you?
This is sort of the militia media. I mean, this is the dark conspiracies. It was around during the Clinton years. years in the New World Order, but you had to sort of gather around the CB radio to exchange this sort of nutty talk. Now you turn on, Fox News, or you flip on AM talk radio. It has been completely mainstream during the Obama years, and there's going to be obvious consequences when you mainstream.
Why is Hugh Hewlett out there saying, don't let people like Tom Coburn, the conservative but respected guy from Oklahoma, saying, cool it on this kind of lingo, left and right. Why would a guy like you say, we got to keep this up? He's saying, if we don't have this right-wing rant going, we won't be there to protect you conservatives when the time comes. Let me ask David that.
Well, I think the enemy is my friend. I mean, I know Hugh Hewlett, and he doesn't use the same language that Glenn Beck does.
Why is he defending him?
I think because the enemy is my friend. He's on my side. They see this in a very polarized
Why do they reserve
fashion.
the right to talk about guns and their hatred of government together? Why do they reserve the right to put those thoughts together?
Because it sells and it plays off the resentment.
How does it sell?
Look at the audience. Look at the money Glenn Beck is making. Listen, there was a guy last summer, Byron Williams, who was arrested on the way to the Tides Foundation where he wanted to kill people. Why? Because Glenn Beck had targeted the Tides Foundation as being the epicenter of this conspiracy against America because they're progressives. So this talk has real-world consequences, and it's only a matter of time before it gets even uglier.
Let's take the gun piece of this. I'm not going to talk gun control right now, although I do think it's a good time to be talking about it. Let me go to you, Eric, on this. We have this guy, Louis Gohmert. He's a birther, so you can get the whole picture. They always want full context. He's a birther.
Okay.
He thinks the president wasn't born here. He's illegitimately sitting in the White House. He ought to be hanged, taken out, and arrested, or whatever, taken out of the country, deported, because he shouldn't be here. That's his belief system. So full context to Congressman Gohmert there. He says that they should be able to carry the guns around the Capitol. Now, the other day, he corrected that 2 days later by saying, well, I don't mean in the chamber itself. You don't have to walk in the gun with a chamber into the chamber, but you do need to be able to carry it right up to the door of the Capitol, not the Capitol, but carry it in the Capitol, but not into the actual House chamber. But everywhere else in the Capitol, you need to carry a gun, or should be able to carry. No. What is this about?
It's a gun obsession. It's same during the Clinton years. If a Democrat's in the White House, they're going to take your guns.
But why would a congressman want to carry a gun? I mean, it's a heavy thing to carry around. Why would you want to have a gun?
It's part of this. It's this right-wing paranoia and it's right-wing obsession with guns.
Does Gohmert think somebody's coming to get him? And shoot him in the side of the head?
He might actually believe that. I mean, if he believes that Obama's a birther
this is the room the president's walking in tomorrow. There are people he knows when he walks in tomorrow night to pomp and circumstance, whatever it is, or hail the chief. He's going to walk in there and look out and know that some of those faces in that room don't think he's an American, think he's some sort of imposter.
Right. And that he has a secret plan to destroy America. Right. This gun stuff is part code, part real. I think, not everybody who says it on the right actually walks around packing a pistol. I don't even know if Glenn Beck knows how to fire a gun. But they know that there are, 10, 20, 30 million Americans out there for whom this is an article of faith, who believe that Barack Obama is coming for their guns, not now, but tonight, in the dark of night with black helicopters, and they're preying on this. That's what they're doing.
Well, we used to talk about the black helicopters as some sort of crazy idea. I think this is getting very close to them. Eric, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think we're going to have an interesting State of the Union tomorrow. We're going to get to the substance now. But I wanted to get to the sound and fury around this State of the Union. We have the shooting death, the death of a federal judge. We have the very serious shooting, and she's still in critical condition, of a United States member of Congress, which has, in fact, terrorized a lot of members of Congress. If you talk to them, they are worried about this environment. Whatever they say politically, they are, and their wives and husbands are worried about this environment that their loved one is working in. This is real now in this environment. I just want to get to the kind of gun talk that preceded it, and I hope goes away, guys. I think people like Tom Coburn are right, on the right. Stop it. David Corn? I don't think I'm going to stop it, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Ballard, thank you very much for Media Matters.